Captain Hyunwoo Park pressed himself against the cold metal of the ventilation shaft. His heart beat so loud he worried the aliens below might hear it. The cloaking suit wrapped around his body made him completely invisible. Not even the most advanced alien sensors could detect him now. He had been inside this shaft for 3 hours. His mission was simple. Listen to what the aliens talked about in their secret meeting. Take pictures, record their voices, then go back to Earth and report what he learned. But what he heard made his blood turn to ice. The Grand Assembly Hall stretched out below him like a massive theater. 12 different alien species sat around a circular table. Each species looked different from the others. Some had 4 arms, others had skin that looked like crystal. A few breathed through tubes connected to tanks on their backs. Hyunwoo had studied all these species during his training. The Vorthak looked like giant insects with 6 legs and compound eyes. Their leader, Ambassador Thex Ran, stood at the center of the room. The Nexari looked like living diamonds that changed colors when they spoke. The Corfin wore biosuits that looked like second skin. All of these species were supposed to be friends with humanity. Earth had trade agreements with them. Human children learned about them in school. Some humans even visited their worlds as tourists. But now Hyunwoo listened as they planned to kill every single human being alive. "The human problem has grown too large," Thex Ran said. His voice sounded like grinding metal. "They reproduce too quickly. They spread to too many worlds. They ask too many questions." A Nexari delegate flashed bright red. "Their curiosity makes them dangerous. They study our technology. They learn our secrets. Soon they might become as advanced as us." "Worse," added a Corfin representative. "They have no respect for natural order. They change themselves. They change their worlds. They even change other species to serve their purposes." Hyunwoo gripped his recording device tighter. These aliens were talking about his species like they were talking about insects that needed to be destroyed. Thex Ran activated a holographic display. Images of Earth appeared in the air above the table. Beautiful blue oceans, green continents, white clouds swirling in perfect patterns. Then the image changed to show Earth's defenses, space stations, military ships, weapon platforms. "Human. Defenses are primitive compared to ours," Thex Ran explained. "Their ships are slow. Their weapons are weak. Their shields cannot stop our quantum torpedoes." Another alien spoke up. This one looked like a giant tree with moving branches. "What about their colonies? Mars has 2 million humans. The Jupiter moons have mining stations. We will hit everything at once," Thex Ran answered. 12 fleets will attack 12 different targets. Earth, Mars, the mining stations, the research bases. All of them will be destroyed in the same moment." The hologram changed again. Now it showed battle plans. Red lines marked attack routes. Numbers showed how many ships each alien species would contribute. Timelines showed when each attack would happen. Hyunwoo felt sick. These weren't just plans. These were detailed blueprints for genocide. A crystalline Nexari began to speak. "Our quantum weapons will destroy their ships instantly. Human shields cannot protect against quantum phase disruption. My people will contribute viral weapons," said the Corfin delegate. "We have developed diseases that target human DNA specifically. Even if some humans survive the initial attack, the viruses will finish them. And my hive ships will clean up any remaining resistance," Thex Ran added. "We will make sure no human escapes to warn others or seek revenge." The room fell quiet as the aliens studied the battle plans. Hyunwoo could hear his own breathing inside his helmet. Each breath sounded impossibly loud. Then one alien asked the question that terrified Hyunwoo most. "When do we begin?" Thex Ran's compound eyes reflected the light from the hologram. 3 standard months from now, during their Lunar New Year celebration. Intelligence reports say most of their military will be on Earth celebrating. Their fleets will be scattered. Their guard will be down. Perfect timing, agreed Anexari. They will be drunk on their rice wine and thinking about family gatherings. They will never see us coming. The aliens began to laugh. Different species made different sounds when they laughed. The Vorthak made clicking noises. The Nexari chimed like bells. The Corfin gurgled through their breathing tubes. But they were, all laughing about the same thing, the death of humanity. One by one, each alien delegate voted to approve the plan. 12 species, 12 votes, all in favor of genocide. Hyun-woo watched as they divided up Earth's territories. The Vorthak wanted the oceans because they could build underwater cities. The Nexari claimed the mountain ranges rich in rare minerals. The Corfin planned to use the forest for bio-research. They talked about humans like they were already dead. The humans think they are special, said Thexran. They believe their emotions and creativity make them superior. They will learn how wrong they are. Their art will make interesting museum pieces, added a Nexari, after we kill them all. The meeting continued for another hour. The aliens discussed weapons, attack formations, and communication protocols. They shared intelligence about human military bases. They identified key targets like Earth's government centers and military headquarters. Every word they spoke was another nail in humanity's coffin. Finally, the meeting ended. The aliens filed out of the assembly hall talking casually among themselves. Some made jokes about human weakness, others discussed what they would do with Earth's resources after the conquest. Hyun-woo remained perfectly still in the ventilation shaft until the last alien left the room. Only then did he allow himself to move. His muscles ached from staying in one position for so long. His throat was dry. His hands shook as he checked his recording equipment. Everything had been captured. Video files, audio recordings, technical specifications of alien weapons, battle plans showing attack routes, even the exact date and time of the planned assault. He had the evidence. Now he had to get back to Earth and warn his people. But as Hyun-woo began to crawl through the ventilation system toward his escape route, one terrible thought kept repeating in his mind. 3 months. Humanity had only 3 months to prepare for a war they didn't know was coming. A war against 12 allied alien species who had been pretending to be friends. A war that was designed to end with every human being dead. The weight of being the only person who knew about this betrayal settled on his shoulders like a crushing mountain. The fate of his entire species now depended on what he did next. He crawled faster through the dark metal tunnels, racing against time to save humanity from extinction. 3 weeks had passed since Captain Hyun-woo Park returned from the most important spy mission in human history. He sat in a secure room deep beneath the Earth Defense Command building in Geneva. Around the table sat the only 4 people on Earth who knew the truth about humanity's coming extinction. Admiral So-young Kim studied the holographic display showing alien fleet positions. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her dark eyes showed no emotion. She had fought in 3 border conflicts and never lost a single battle. Now she faced the biggest challenge of her career. "Show me the attack plan again," she said quietly. Hyun-woo activated his neural interface. The alien battle plans appeared in the air above the table. Red arrows showed attack routes, numbers indicated fleet sizes. Timelines marked exactly when each strike would happen. Director Tae-hyun Lee leaned forward to examine the data. As head of Earth intelligence, he had spent 20 years learning alien secrets, but nothing had prepared him for this level of betrayal. 12 species, he said slowly. Every single one of our allies. Even the Nexari who helped us build our first quantum computers. Even the Corfin who shared their medical technology with our hospitals. President Min-ho Choi sat at the head of the table. His face looked older than it had 3 weeks ago. Leading humanity through this crisis was aging him rapidly. "What are our options?" he asked. "We could try to negotiate," suggested Tae-hyun. Maybe offer them something they want more than our extinction. Admiral So Young shook her head. You heard the recordings. They don't want anything from us except our deaths. They see us as a threat to their way of life. We could launch a first strike, said Hyun-woo. Hit their fleets before they can organize their attack. With what? So Young replied. Our entire military has maybe 50,000 ships. They're bringing 12 fleets with millions of vessels. We would be crushed. The room fell silent. Everyone knew the math. Humanity was outnumbered by more than 1,000 to 1. Their technology was centuries behind alien standards. A direct fight would be suicide. President Min-ho stood up and walked to the window. Outside, people went about their normal lives. Children played in parks, adults hurried to work, couples walked hand in hand down busy streets. None of them knew that in less than 3 months they might all be dead. We're not going to panic, he said finally. We're not going to beg, and we're not going to give up. We're going to do what humans do best. What's that? Asked Tae-hyun. Min-ho turned back to face the group. We're going to cheat. Over the next hour, they outlined the most ambitious deception in human history. They would let the aliens think their plan was working perfectly. Meanwhile, humanity would secretly prepare for a war unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The first phase began immediately. Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon received a priority assignment at the National Science Institute. Officially, she was working on improved solar panel efficiency. Actually, she was reverse engineering every piece of alien technology humanity had acquired through trade agreements. Yoon-ji had always been curious about how alien quantum drives worked. Now she had unlimited funding and the best research team on Earth to help her figure it out. Within days, she discovered that alien technology wasn't as advanced as everyone thought. It was just different. Look at this, she explained to her team as they examined a Nexari quantum processor. They build everything around crystal matrix structures, but our silicon-based computers can actually process information faster in certain conditions. Her assistant, Dr. Namjoon Kim, looked confused. But their ships are so much faster than ours. Their ships are faster because they use quantum tunneling for propulsion, Yoon-ji explained. But quantum tunneling has limitations. If we can create interference patterns at the right frequencies, we can trap their ships in normal space. While Yoon-ji worked on alien technology, engineer Jae-won Kang began Project Lazarus. On paper, it looked like an expansion of asteroid mining operations in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. Mining companies were building new facilities to extract rare metals from asteroids. Actually, Jae-won was building secret shipyards. We need to construct vessels that don't appear on any official records, he explained to his construction teams. The aliens monitor our industrial output. They know exactly how many ships we're supposed to have. The asteroid belt was perfect for hiding construction projects. Thousands of rocks floated in the darkness between planets. Some were as small as houses. Others were as large as cities. Jae-won chose the largest asteroids and began hollowing them out. Inside these hidden spaces, human workers built ships using designs that Yoon-ji's team provided. The vessels looked nothing like traditional human ships. They used hybrid technology, combining human engineering with alien principles. But the most important part of Project Lazarus wasn't building ships. It was moving people. Captain Soo-jin Nam commanded the evacuation efforts. Her job was to relocate essential humans to hidden colonies throughout the solar system. But she had to do it without making the aliens suspicious. We're calling it the Great Expansion, she explained to her logistics team. Humanity is spreading to new worlds because we're ambitious and adventurous. That's what the aliens expect from us. Colony ships departed Earth every day carrying settlers to distant moons. But these weren't ordinary colonists. They were scientists. Engineers, teachers, doctors, and artists, the best minds humanity had to offer. Soo-jin established hidden bases on moons that appeared lifeless and worthless. Titan, with its thick atmosphere and frozen surface, became home to 50,000 refugees. Ganymede's ice-covered oceans hid underwater cities. Even small asteroids were converted into self-sustaining habitats. Each facility was designed to be completely undetectable. Power came from geothermal sources or solar collectors disguised as natural formations. Communications used quantum encryption that looked like background radiation. Life support systems recycled everything perfectly. Meanwhile, Captain Hyun-woo played the most dangerous role of all. He had to maintain his regular diplomatic contacts with the alien conspiracy. Every week, he attended meetings and social events, where he smiled and chatted with the same aliens who planned to kill his entire species. The human military is conducting routine exercises near Jupiter, he reported to Ambassador Thex Rand during one meeting. Nothing unusual, just standard patrol patterns. Actually, those exercises were cover for moving warships to hidden positions. But Thex Rand accepted the lie because it fit what he expected to hear. Hyun-woo fed the aliens carefully crafted misinformation. He told them that Earth's newest ships were having engine problems. He shared fake intelligence reports showing human. Morale was low due to economic troubles. He even provided authentic-looking documents about supply shortages in the military. All of it was designed to make the aliens overconfident. The hardest part was acting normal when he wanted to scream at these creatures for their planned betrayal. During one dinner party, a Nexari delegate joked about human food being too bland. Hyun-woo laughed along while thinking about how that same alien had voted to poison every human child in the galaxy. As weeks passed, the secret preparations accelerated. Hidden factories produced weapons using new designs based on alien weaknesses. Training facilities prepared soldiers for zero-gravity combat. Communication networks were hardened against alien cyber attacks. But the most important development happened in Dr. Hai-Wan Shin's psychology laboratory. Hai-Wan studied the alien communications that Hyun-woo had recorded. She analyzed their speech, patterns, their decision-making processes, and their social structures. What she discovered would change everything. "They're not as smart as they think they are," she reported to the Leadership Council. "Each species has critical blind spots. The Vorthak rely too heavily on group consensus. The Nexari can't adapt quickly to unexpected situations. The Corfin are terrified of contamination." "How does that help us?" asked Admiral So Young. "Because now we know exactly how to beat them," Hai-Wan smiled. "We don't need to match their technology. We just need to exploit their psychology." 2 months remained until the planned attack. Humanity's secret preparations were ahead of schedule. Thousands of people now lived in hidden colonies. New weapons were being manufactured every day. Intelligence networks had infiltrated alien communication systems. The aliens still believed they were going to easily destroy humanity during the Lunar New Year celebration. They had no idea that their intended victims were preparing the greatest surprise in galactic history. But Hyun-woo couldn't help feeling nervous as he filed his latest false report to the alien conspiracy. The deception was working perfectly, maybe too perfectly. What if the aliens discovered the truth? What if someone made a mistake? The fate of humanity still balanced on a knife's edge, and there were still 2 months left to make a crucial error. 2 months remained until the planned genocide. Humanity's secret preparations reached a fever pitch as thousands of people worked around the clock to save their species. The aliens still had no idea that their communications were being monitored, and their every move was being tracked. Colonel Jin-ho Bei stood inside a massive asteroid that had been hollowed out and converted into a weapons factory. Around him, robotic assembly lines built ships that officially did not exist. These vessels looked nothing like traditional human designs. They combined the best of human engineering with alien technology that Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon's team had reverse-engineered. "How? Many ships will be ready in time?" asked Admiral So Young Kim as she toured the facility. 300 Ghost Fleet vessels, Jin-ho replied proudly, each one equipped with quantum cloaking devices, hybrid weapon systems, and adaptive armor plating. So Young examined one of the completed ships through the observation window. The vessel was sleek and angular, with surfaces that seemed to bend. Light around them. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The cloaking technology works better than the alien versions, Jinho continued. Our ships can remain invisible even while firing weapons. The aliens won't see us until it's too late. In another part of the solar system, Dr. Haewan Shin was making discoveries that would prove crucial to humanity's survival. Her team had spent months studying alien psychology and biology using intercepted communications and cultural data from diplomatic exchanges. Each species has specific weaknesses, she explained to her research team. The Vorthak communicate through quantum-entangled brain implants. If we disrupt those signals, their entire military coordination will collapse. Her assistant, Dr. Bora, Lee pointed to another display. What about the Nexari? The Nexari process information through crystal matrices that vibrate at specific frequencies, Haewan said. We've developed sonic weapons that can shatter their thought patterns. They'll be completely confused in battle. And the Korfin? The Korfin are the easiest to defeat. They're terrified of biological contamination. Their biosuits have emergency systems that will seal them inside their ships if they detect unknown pathogens. We've created harmless bacteria that will trigger those emergency systems. Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Young-Soo Han was conducting the most dangerous part of the preparation. His job was to infiltrate alien communication networks and plant viruses that would activate during the coming battle. Young-Soo worked from a hidden facility on Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. His computer screens showed alien data streams, flowing like rivers of light. The aliens believed their quantum encryption was unbreakable. They were wrong. Human creativity is our greatest advantage, Young-Soo explained to his cyber warfare team. The aliens designed their systems to be logical and efficient. But logic has patterns, and patterns can be broken. His team had created thousands of digital weapons. Some would shut down alien ship computers. Others would corrupt navigation systems. The most advanced viruses would actually take control of alien vessels and turn them against their own fleets. The aliens think we're primitive because our technology looks different from theirs, said Young-Soo. But different doesn't mean inferior. It just means unexpected. Captain Hyun-woo continued his dangerous role as a double agent. He attended diplomatic meetings and social events where he smiled and laughed with the aliens who planned to kill his species. Every conversation was a careful balance of providing useful information while hiding humanity's true preparations. During one particularly tense meeting with Ambassador Thex Ran, the Vorthak leader seemed suspicious about human military movements. Your patrol patterns have changed, Thex Ran observed, his compound eyes reflecting the light in the meeting room. Your ships are spending more time near Jupiter and Saturn. Hyunwoo had prepared for this question. We discovered unusual asteroid activity in those regions. Probably just space debris from old mining operations, but Fleet Command wants us to investigate. Of course, Thex Ran replied. Humans are always curious about things that don't concern them. Actually, those patrol ships were escorting colony, vessels carrying evacuees to hidden bases. But the alien ambassador accepted the lie because it matched his expectations about human behavior. The conversation continued with Yun-Woo providing carefully crafted misinformation about Earth's defenses. He told Thex Ran that the planetary shield generators were having technical problems. He shared fake reports about supply shortages in the military. He even complained about low morale among human soldiers. All of it was designed to make the aliens overconfident, and it was working perfectly. As the weeks passed, more evacuees arrived at the hidden colonies. Captain Sujin Nam had successfully relocated over 200,000 essential humans to secret bases throughout the solar system. Teachers, scientists, doctors, engineers, artists, and philosophers now waited in underground cities and orbital habitats. Each facility was a marvel of human ingenuity. The base on Titan used the moon's thick atmosphere to hide massive industrial complexes. The underwater cities on Ganymede harnessed geothermal energy from the moon's core. Even tiny asteroids had been converted into self-sustaining habitats. For small groups of specialists, if Earth falls, humanity will survive, Sujin reported to the Leadership Council. We have genetic samples, cultural archives, and technical databases stored in dozens of locations. The species will continue. But President Min-ho Choi wasn't satisfied with mere survival. We're not just going to hide and hope for the best, he declared. We're going to win this war. Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon's breakthrough came with only 6 weeks left until the planned attack. Her team had finally cracked the secret of alien quantum drives. More importantly, they had found a way to use that knowledge as a weapon. Quantum tunneling requires precise mathematical calculations, she explained excitedly. If we introduce chaos into those calculations, their ships will be pulled out of quantum space and trapped in normal dimensions. How do we introduce chaos? Asked Admiral So Young. With these, Yoon-ji gestured to a new type of weapon her team had developed. Quantum disruption torpedoes. When they explode near alien ships, they create mathematical interference patterns that make quantum tunneling impossible. The implications were staggering. The aliens relied on their speed and mobility to win battles. If human weapons could trap them in normal space, the technological advantage would shift dramatically. Final preparations accelerated as the deadline approached. Hidden factories worked 24 hours a day producing weapons and supplies. Training facilities prepared soldiers for the most important battle in human history. Communication networks were tested and retested to ensure they couldn't be compromised. But perhaps the most important development was psychological. Word of the coming war had spread to the essential personnel in the hidden colonies. Instead of panic, there was determination. Instead of fear, there was anger. Humanity had been betrayed by species they considered friends. Children had been marked for death by aliens they had learned about in school. Parents faced the possibility of never seeing their families again. That anger became fuel for the greatest military mobilization in human history. Colonel Dong-hyun Park trained Special Forces teams for infiltration missions behind enemy lines. These soldiers would target alien command centers and weapon production facilities. They studied alien anatomy and learned to exploit the weaknesses that Dr. Haiwan's team had identified. We're not just fighting for our survival, Dong-hyun told his troops. We're fighting to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity. As the final weeks counted down, Captain Hyun-woo filed his last intelligence reports to the alien conspiracy. The attack was still scheduled for the Lunar New Year celebration. 12 alien fleets were moving into position around human space. Everything was proceeding according to their plan, but the aliens had made one crucial mistake. They had underestimated humanity's greatest strength, the ability to turn desperate situations into opportunities for victory. The trap was set. The weapons were ready. The evacuees were safe in their hidden sanctuaries. Now all that remained was to spring the greatest surprise in galactic history. The day of humanity's planned extinction had arrived. Across Earth, millions of people celebrated the Lunar New Year with traditional festivals, family gatherings, and fireworks that lit up the night sky. Children laughed and played while adults shared stories and good food. None of them knew that 12 alien fleets were approaching their solar system with orders to kill every human being alive. But humanity's leaders were ready. Admiral So Young Kim stood on the bridge of her command ship, hidden in the shadow of Saturn's rings. Around her, the Ghost Fleet waited in perfect silence. 300 vessels hung motionless in space, their quantum cloaking devices making them completely invisible to alien sensors. Fleet positions confirmed, reported her communications officer. All units are in place and ready for combat. So Young studied the tactical display showing alien fleet movements. The enemy forces were massive beyond imagination. Millions of ships from 12 different species converged on human space. Their formations were perfect. Their coordination was flawless. Their confidence was absolute. They expected to find a defenseless, celebrating population. Instead, they were about to encounter the most sophisticated military ambush in galactic history. "Signal from Earth Defense Command," the communications officer announced. "President Min Ho gives authorization for Operation Payback." So Young took a deep breath. Everything humanity had worked for during the past 3 months would be decided in the next few hours. "All units," she broadcast on the quantum-encrypted command frequency. "Execute Operation Payback. Show them what happens when you threaten humanity." Light years away, the first alien fleet dropped out of quantum tunnel space near Earth's moon. Vorthak hive ships spread out in attack formation while their sensors scanned for human defenses. Ambassador Thexran stood on his flagship's command deck, confident that victory would be swift and complete. "Human ships detected," reported his sensor operator. 12 patrol vessels holding standard defensive positions around Earth." "Only 12? Thexran laughed, the sound like grinding metal. "Their intelligence was even worse than we thought. Begin the attack." The Vorthak fleet moved forward with weapons charging. Behind them, Nexari crystal ships shimmered with rainbow colors as they prepared quantum torpedoes. Corfen bio-vessels pulsed with organic weapon systems designed to destroy human cities from orbit. But as the alien ships approached Earth's defensive perimeter, something impossible happened. Space itself seemed to explode with light and fire. The Ghost Fleet materialized from nowhere, their cloaking devices deactivating simultaneously as they opened fire. Quantum disruption torpedoes struck alien vessels before they could react. The mathematical interference patterns created by the weapons pulled enemy ships out of quantum space and trapped them in normal dimensions. "What is happening?" screamed Thexran as his mighty hive ship shuddered under human weapon fire. "How are they here? Where did these ships come from?" His sensor operator's voice was filled with panic. "Unknown vessels appearing throughout the system. Weapons technology unlike anything in our databases. Our quantum drives are not responding." The battle was swift and devastating. Human ships moved like deadly dancers, appearing from nowhere to strike and then vanishing again into cloaked stealth. The aliens, designed to fight conventional enemies using predictable tactics, found themselves helpless against human creativity and adaptation. Captain Yunwoo commanded one of the Ghost Fleet vessels attacking the Vorthak flagship. His ship, named Incheon's Revenge after his hometown, had been specifically designed to exploit insect-like alien weaknesses. "Target their communication array," he ordered his weapons officer. "Dr. Haiwan's research shows that disrupting their quantum-entangled communications will paralyze their coordination." Sonic pulses designed to shatter Vorthak neural implants struck the enemy flagship. Immediately, the alien ship began spinning, out of control as its crew lost the ability to communicate with each other. "Direct hit on their command center," reported the weapons officer. "Enemy vessel is disabled and ready for boarding." Similar scenes played out across the solar system. Near Jupiter, Nexari crystal ships found their quantum matrices shattered by precisely tuned sonic weapons. The beautiful rainbow-colored vessels became dark and lifeless as their crews fell into confused stupors. At Mars, Corfen bioships detected the harmless bacteria that Young-Soo Han's team had developed. Their emergency contamination protocols activated automatically, sealing the aliens inside their own vessels and cutting off their life support systems. The most shocking part of the battle wasn't the human victory, it was how easily it happened. "Enemy fleet command structure has collapsed," reported intelligence officer Young-Soo from his cyber warfare center on Europa. "Our viruses have infected their communication networks. They can't coordinate their attacks or call for reinforcements." The digital weapons that his team had planted months earlier activated simultaneously across all alien fleets. Navigation systems began providing false information. Weapon-targeting computers started shooting at empty space. Some ships even began attacking their own allies as their identification systems were corrupted. Within 6 hours, The mighty armada that came to exterminate humanity was completely destroyed or captured. Not a single alien vessel escaped to report back to their homeworlds. Admiral So Young surveyed the aftermath from her command ship. Space around Earth was filled with the wreckage of alien vessels. Some ships had been completely vaporized by human weapons. Others drifted powerless with their crews unconscious or confused. A few had been captured intact for intelligence purposes. "Casualties?" she asked her staff officer. "Minimal," came the reply. 17 human ships damaged, no ships lost. Total casualties fewer than 300 wounded, 0 killed. The numbers were almost unbelievable. Humanity had just defeated 12 allied alien species without losing a single ship or killing a single person. It was the most lopsided victory in military history, but the most important discovery came during the interrogation of captured alien commanders. Colonel Dong-hyun Park led the questioning of Ambassador Thex Ran, who had been pulled alive from his disabled flagship. "Why did you want to destroy humanity?" Dong-hyun asked through a translation device. Thex Ran's compound eyes looked dull and defeated. "You were becoming too dangerous, too unpredictable, too creative." "Dangerous how? We never attacked your people." "You didn't need to attack us," the alien ambassador replied. "Your very existence threatened our way of life. You ask questions that have no answers. You change things that should stay the same. You make other species think they can be different than they are." The interrogation revealed the shocking truth about alien civilization. For thousands of years, the galaxy had been stagnant. Each species followed rigid patterns of behavior. Technology advanced slowly. Social structures never changed. Art and literature remained the same for centuries. Then humanity had arrived with their chaos and creativity. They asked awkward questions about why things worked the way they did. They modified alien technology in unexpected ways. They even encouraged other species to try new approaches to old problems. "You were going to make the galaxy unstable," Thex Ran explained. "Better to eliminate the problem before it spread." Dr. Hai-Wan Shin, who observed the interrogations, made notes about alien psychology. "They're not evil," she reported to the Leadership Council. "They're just terrified of change. Humanity represents everything they fear about an uncertain future." More captured aliens told similar stories. They genuinely believed that humans were a primitive, backward species incapable of serious resistance. Their intelligence about humanity was decades out of date. They had never bothered to study human military developments or technological advances. "They saw us as chaotic children playing with dangerous toys," explained Captain Yun-woo after interviewing several Nexari prisoners. "They never realized that chaos was our greatest strength." The arrogance of the alien conspiracy had been their downfall. They planned their attack based on outdated information and assumptions about human weakness. They never suspected that their communications were compromised or that their intended victims were preparing the greatest surprise in galactic history. As news of the victory spread to the hidden colonies, celebrations erupted throughout the solar system. On Titan, evacuees danced in the underground cities. On Ganymede, children played games in the underwater habitats. Even on small asteroid bases, people sang songs and shared stories about humanity's triumph. But President Min-ho Choi wasn't satisfied with defensive victory. As he stood in the war room looking at displays showing the positions of alien homeworlds, his expression was grim and determined. "They came here to commit genocide," he said quietly. "They plan to kill our children, destroy our culture, and wipe out our entire species. That cannot go unanswered." Admiral So Young nodded in agreement. "What are your orders, Mr. President?" "Prepare for Phase 2, Min-ho replied. "It's time to visit our friends on their own homeworlds. They want to see what humanity is really capable of. Let's show them." The alien homeworlds waited in silence for news of humanity's destruction. Government leaders checked their communication devices hourly, expecting reports of successful genocide from their attack fleets. Military commanders prepared celebration ceremonies to mark the elimination of the human threat. Some species even began discussing how to divide Earth's resources. Instead, they received a message that shattered their understanding of the universe. The transmission began broadcasting, simultaneously to every major world in the galaxy. It used the aliens' own quantum communication networks, hijacked by Young-Soo Han's cyber warfare teams. No government could block it. No military could stop it. Every alien in the galaxy would hear humanity's response to their betrayal. President Minho Choi appeared on billions of screens across thousands of worlds. He sat calmly in what appeared to be the command center of a captured Vorthak flagship. Behind him, Ambassador Thex Ran knelt in restraints, his once proud compound eyes, now dull with defeat. "Citizens of the galaxy," Minho began in a voice that carried absolute authority. 3 months ago, your leaders met in secret to plan the complete extinction of humanity. They believed we were weak, primitive, and helpless. They were wrong. The ZR camera shifted to show the wreckage of alien fleets floating in space around Earth. Millions of ships from 12 species lay destroyed or disabled. The mighty armada sent to commit genocide had been completely annihilated in less than 6 hours. Your attack fleets came to our system expecting to find defenseless victims, Minho continued. Instead, they discovered that humanity does not surrender. We do not beg, and we do not forgive those who threaten our children. Across the galaxy, alien populations watched in stunned silence. The species they had dismissed as chaotic primitives had just delivered the most devastating military defeat in galactic history. Worse, they had done it without losing a single ship. "Now you will face the consequences of your actions," Minho announced. "We are coming to your worlds, not as conquerors seeking territory, but as judges seeking justice. Those responsible for planning genocide will answer for their crimes." The transmission ended with images of human fleets departing Earth's solar system. Ghost fleet vessels decloaked long enough to be seen, then vanished again into quantum stealth. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer hiding. Colonel Dong-hyun Park led the first strike team to the Vorthak homeworld of Zatar Prime. His mission was surgical and precise. Using captured alien technology and intelligence gathered during months of preparation, his commandos infiltrated the planet's capital city without being detected. Their target was the High Council chamber where the genocide had been planned and approved. Dong-hyun's team moved through the city like ghosts, their adaptive camouflage making them invisible to Vorthak's sensors. They had studied the insect-like aliens for months, learning every weakness and vulnerability. "Sonic disruptors ready," whispered his demolitions expert as they reached the council building. "One pulse should disable their quantum-entangled communication network." The attack lasted less than 10 minutes. Human sonic weapons shattered the Vorthak hive mind connections, leaving the council members confused and helpless. Dong-hyun's team captured 12 high-ranking officials, including the Queen Mother, who had cast the deciding vote for human extinction. "You plan to kill 2 billion humans," Dong-hyun told the captured Queen Mother as she was loaded onto a transport ship. "Now you'll stand trial for war crimes." Similar operations unfolded across the galaxy. Captain Hyun-woo led assault teams to Nexari crystal worlds, where precisely tuned sonic weapons turned their beautiful rainbow cities into silent, dark monuments. The Nexari leadership found their crystal matrix minds shattered and unable to process complex thoughts. On Corfin bioworlds, Dr. Si-jin Lee's medical teams released modified bacteria that triggered massive contamination alerts. The Corfin, terrified of biological infection, sealed themselves inside their biosuits and surrendered without fighting. But humanity's response went far beyond military action. The aliens had expected barbaric retaliation, mass destruction, and civilian casualties. Instead, they encountered something far more terrifying: perfect precision. Human forces struck only at those individuals and institutions directly responsible for planning genocide. Civilian populations were left completely unharmed. Infrastructure remained intact. Even alien military forces were disabled rather than destroyed whenever possible. "We're not here to conquer you," explained Captain Sujin Nam as her peacekeeping forces established order on the Nexari homeworld. "We're here to remove the people who tried to murder our species." The surgical precision of humanity's response terrified the aliens more than any display of brutality would have. It demonstrated a level of military sophistication and moral restraint that they had never imagined possible from the species they considered chaotic and primitive. Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon led scientific teams that systematically dismantled alien military capabilities while preserving everything else. Weapon factories were shut down and converted to produce medical supplies. Military research facilities were repurposed for civilian technology development. War fleets were scrapped and their materials used to build schools and hospitals. "Your leaders wanted to destroy human civilization," she explained to captured Vorthak scientists. "We're going to show you what civilization actually looks like." The transformation was swift and comprehensive. Within 3 standard months, every species that had participated in the conspiracy found their military capabilities completely neutralized. Their governments had been replaced with human-supervised administrations. Their societies were being rebuilt around principles of cooperation and peaceful coexistence. But the most shocking development was how ordinary alien citizens reacted to human occupation. On Zeta Prime, Vorthak workers discovered that human supervisors treated them better than their own queen mothers had. Factories that had been dangerous and polluted were cleaned up and made safe. Workers received better pay, shorter hours, and medical benefits that their previous government had never provided. Young Vorthak, who had been conscripted into military service, found themselves enrolled in educational programs instead. They learned about art, literature, science, and philosophy. For the first time in their lives, they were encouraged to think independently rather than following hive mind directives. "The humans are teaching us things our own leaders never wanted us to know," reported one young Vorthak in a message intercepted by intelligence services. "They say we don't have to live the same way forever. We can choose our own paths." Similar transformations occurred throughout the galaxy. Nexari crystal cities that had been rigid and unchanging for millennia began to sparkle with new colors as their inhabitants experimented with different artistic expressions. Corfin bioworlds started growing new types of plants and organisms, as scientists were freed from military research. The aliens began to understand why their leaders had been so terrified of humanity. Humans didn't just bring military defeat, they brought change, creativity, and the dangerous idea that individuals could make their own choices about how to live. Director Tae-hyun Lee, now serving as Galactic Administrator, established the new governmental structure that would replace the failed Galactic Council. The Terran Protectorate was designed around human principles, but included representatives from all species. "Your old system was built on fear and stagnation," he explained to a gathering of reformed alien leaders. "Our system is built on growth and cooperation. Everyone benefits when everyone is free to contribute their best ideas." The Protectorate's first laws abolished slavery, established universal education, and guaranteed basic rights for all sentient beings. Alien species that had been enemies for centuries found themselves working together on projects that benefited everyone. But perhaps the most important change was psychological. For the first time in galactic history, ordinary citizens began to believe that their lives could improve. Children learned that they could become something different than their parents. Adults discovered that they could question authority and suggest better ways of doing things. "The humans didn't conquer us," observed a Nexari philosopher in what became a famous essay. "They liberated us from our own limitations. We feared their chaos because we had forgotten that chaos is where new possibilities are born." As the first year of the Terran Protectorate ended, Surveys showed remarkable improvements across all measured aspects of galactic civilization. Crime rates had dropped dramatically. Educational achievement was reaching record highs. Scientific advancement was accelerating faster than ever before. Even former enemies began to admit that human leadership was producing better results than their old governments had achieved. Ambassador Thex Ran, serving his sentence in a human rehabilitation facility, provided the most honest assessment of the transformation. "We wanted to destroy humanity because they made us question everything we believed about how the universe should work," he wrote in his prison journal. "Now we understand that questioning everything was exactly what the universe needed. The Izor species that had once spoken freely about ending humanity now spoke freely about the future they were building together under human guidance." 1 year had passed since the failed genocide attempt that changed the course of galactic history. The old Galactic Council station had been completely rebuilt and renamed Unity Station. Instead of the cold, sterile meeting halls where aliens had once plotted humanity's extinction, the new facility buzzed with activity as representatives from hundreds of species worked together on projects that would have been impossible under the old system. Director Tae-Hyun Lee walked through the main corridors of Unity Station, observing the remarkable changes that had occurred. Vorthak engineers worked alongside Nexari scientists to develop new medical technologies. Corfin biologists shared research, with human doctors to cure diseases that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. Even species that had been enemies for millennia now collaborated on joint projects. "The transformation has exceeded all our expectations," reported Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon during the weekly leadership meeting. "Scientific advancement has accelerated by 300% since we established the Terran Protectorate. We're seeing breakthrough discoveries almost daily. Admiral So-Young Kim, now commanding the Integrated Galactic Defense Fleet, reviewed security reports from across known space. Criminal activity has dropped to historic lows. Pirates and raiders have mostly disappeared. When different species work together instead of fighting each other, there's less conflict everywhere." The numbers told an incredible story. Before human intervention, the galaxy had been plagued by constant warfare between different species. Resource conflicts, territorial disputes, and religious differences had kept civilizations locked in cycles of violence and stagnation. Now, cooperation had replaced competition as the guiding principle of galactic society. Captain Hyun Woo, promoted to admiral after his crucial role in discovering the alien conspiracy, commanded exploration missions to previously unknown regions of space. His ships carried mixed crews of humans and reformed aliens, working together to map new star systems and make contact with isolated civilizations. "We've discovered 17 new species in the past 6 months," he reported. "All of them have requested membership in the Terran Protectorate after learning about our system of government and individual rights." The Protectorate's reputation was spreading faster than anyone had expected. Species that had never heard of humans now sent diplomatic missions asking to join the new galactic order. They had heard stories about a civilization where individuals could choose their own paths, where creativity was encouraged, and where different species worked as equals. Dr. Haya-Wan Shin had established the Galactic Institute for Cultural Development, which helped alien societies transition from rigid traditional structures to more flexible and adaptive forms of organization. Her work had become essential as more species sought to modernize their civilizations. "The key insight is that every species has untapped potential," she explained to a group of new ambassadors. Under their old governments, most individuals never had the chance to discover what they were truly capable of accomplishing. The evidence was everywhere. Young Vorthak, who had been raised in hive-mind collectives, were becoming independent artists, writers, and inventors. Nexari crystal children, who had been programmed to think in rigid patterns, were developing revolutionary new approaches to mathematics and physics. Corfin youth were creating biological innovations that their elders had never imagined possible. But perhaps the most remarkable transformation had occurred among the species' former leaders. Ambassador Thex Ran had completed his rehabilitation program and now served as an advisor on Vorthak cultural integration. His perspective on the changes was uniquely valuable because he had experienced both the old system and the new one. "We lived in fear for so long that we forgot what hope felt like," he explained during a public address to other former conspiracy members. "We were so afraid of change that we tried to destroy the one species that could teach us how to grow." Thex Ran had become an unexpected symbol of redemption and transformation. His journey from genocidal conspirator to respected advisor demonstrated that even the most rigid minds could learn to embrace new possibilities. The economic transformation had been equally dramatic. Under the old system, different species had hoarded resources and technology, leading to artificial scarcity and inequality. The Terran Protectorate had established free trade policies and technology-sharing agreements that benefited everyone. Engineer Jaewon Kang, who had built the secret shipyards during humanity's preparation for war, now oversaw massive construction projects that involved cooperation between dozens of species, cities that incorporated the best architectural ideas from multiple civilizations, space stations that combined human engineering with alien materials and design principles. When species work together instead of competing against each other, everyone accomplishes more than they could alone, he observed while reviewing plans for a new research facility that would house scientists from 50 different worlds. Education had undergone the most fundamental changes. The old system had trained individuals to fit into predetermined social roles. The new system encouraged students to explore their interests and develop their unique talents. Captain Sujin Nam had established the Galactic University system, with campuses on hundreds of worlds. Students from different species learned alongside each other, sharing knowledge and perspectives that had been isolated for millennia. "We're seeing innovations that would have been impossible under the old system," she reported. "When you combine human creativity with Nexari logic, Vorthak cooperation, and Corfin biological expertise, the results are amazing." The university system had produced a new generation of galactic citizens who thought of themselves as part of a unified civilization rather than separate species competing for resources. These young people were designing technologies, creating art, and solving problems that their parents' generation had considered impossible. But the most important measure of success was happiness. Surveys conducted across the galaxy showed dramatic improvements in quality of life, personal satisfaction, and optimism about the future. For the first time in galactic history, ordinary citizens believed that their children would have better lives than they did. President Minho Choi, now serving his second term as galactic president, reflected on the remarkable journey that had brought them to this point. He stood in his office looking out at Earth, where children played in parks while their parents worked on projects that would benefit species across the galaxy. "They thought they were eliminating a threat," he said to his senior staff during their final meeting of the year. Instead, they discovered their salvation. The irony was not lost on anyone. The species that had planned humanity's extinction because they feared human unpredictability had discovered that unpredictability was exactly what the galaxy needed: chaos, creativity, and the willingness to question established assumptions had transformed a stagnant civilization into a thriving community of cooperative species. Young Su-Han, now head of the Protectorate's communication networks, had developed systems that allowed instant translation and cultural exchange between any species in known space. Barriers that had separated civilizations for millennia were dissolving as individuals learned to communicate across species lines. The old system was based on fear, he observed. Fear of change, fear of other species, fear of new ideas. The new system is based on curiosity. When you're curious about others instead of afraid of them, everything becomes possible. As the second year of the Terran Protectorate began, new challenges and opportunities continued to emerge. Deep space exploration was revealing ancient civilizations. that had been isolated for thousands of years. First contact protocols developed by mixed human-alien teams were making peaceful integration possible with species that had never imagined life beyond their own star systems. The transformation was accelerating rather than slowing down. Each success built momentum for the next breakthrough. Each species that joined the Protectorate brought new perspectives and capabilities that benefited everyone. Ambassador Sumin Yang, now serving as Chief Diplomatic Officer, was coordinating contact with the Andromeda Galaxy, where signals indicated the presence of advanced civilizations that might be interested in joining the growing galactic community. What we've learned is that cooperation isn't just more moral than competition, she reported to the Galactic Assembly. It's more effective. When species work together, everyone accomplishes more than anyone could achieve alone. The final session of the year ended with a moment that would have been impossible under the old system. Representatives from every known species stood together and recited the Protectorate Pledge, promising to work for the benefit of all sentient beings in the galaxy. Among them stood Thex Ran, the former Vorthak ambassador who had once voted to exterminate humanity. His voice joined with others as they spoke the words that had become the foundation of the new galactic order. We are one galaxy, many species, infinite possibilities. The species that had once spoken freely about ending humanity now spoke freely about the unlimited future they were building together. And at the center of it all stood humanity, not as conquerors or rulers, but as the shepherds who had shown the galaxy what it meant to turn enemies into family and challenges into achievements. The greatest irony was that humanity's supposed weakness had become everyone's greatest strength.